Like Michi Hoyer everywhere, slip sliding his way across the internet.
Oh no!
Hi guys, we've got Michi Hoyer here. You can just start laughing. No, we can keep it staying in the video, I don't care. We've got Michi Hoyer here and we're driving the last garage, and well, Michi's driving it, I'm not. And we want to talk a bit about the physics and the handling, the nature of the physics and the handling, and that from the perspective of a actual decent driver, not a boiled egg. Michi, you came second yesterday.
I did.
In the competition with this.
Yes.
Nobody had any practice.
No.
It was like literally you jumped on it, you had to qualify having never played the sim, never driven the car, and yeah, finished second. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
It worked a treat yesterday. Like, honestly, I came into this weekend, I'm gonna be bloody honest with you, and like, yeah, I'm gonna go for qualifying and see where I end up. And then I qualified and was like, cool, I made it to the main event. Everything is bonus from here. And if someone told me that morning I'm gonna jump onto the podium, I would be like, you're absolutely overestimating my abilities. But I got on the podium.
But he did it.
I did.
And that's all that matters, you delivered.
I did, yeah.
So, finishing with the gloating here now. The gloating's moved on, the esports.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome, it was really fun to watch. Handling with this simulator, right?
Yes.
So, what do you think, what does it remind you of, first of all, compared to other simulators?
So, as we know, Marcel Offermans is producing the sim while I show a nice spin. He's, well, the CEO of that sim manufacturer. He got a team around him, but you know, Marcel Offermans has been the CEO of Studio 397 that done rFactor 2 for a while, and you can clearly see a handwriting here. Like, I don't say it is like rFactor 2, it's not. It is different, it is better, it has a better tire model. Like, you guys, from rFactor 2, you know, you can drift slide the car a lot. I'm gonna just quickly show you what happens if you're not drift sliding the car. It's like, it doesn't work.
Yeah, so in rFactor there's that whole sort of meta of set the car up into quite an aggressive slip and then power that through the corners.
Exactly.
But in fairness, LMU has massively reduced that and it's moved away.
We're just showing that it's possible to, on an rFactor, like on a G2 motor physic engine, it is possible to have a tire that doesn't have that slip.
Yeah.
Like, I just slipped it again right now, but you just see I'm like slipping off the line, not making it through the turns.
But with this, it doesn't have that sort of large slip to it. It has a sort of balanced amount of slip to it.
Exactly, like it has a slip where if you look like a KTM Expo or whatever, that car is driven with a slip as well, like just a kind of buggy kind of car, you know? And you have that here as well, you have a little bit of a slip angle, you have a very weak front end, but you need to actually properly drive it as a car. And I think as much as we feel that we're coming from rFactor 2 a little bit, or that it is similar to the way rFactor 2 is working, it is still unique in its own way, and I'm really looking forward to see what the final product will look like.
So what would you say the meta for driving this is? Because when I was watching the esports competition yesterday, which you can watch on a live stream, catch up on YouTube, but I was chatting to some of the drivers that were taking part in it, and it was really interesting to see that you were saying that you were sort of feeling like you were underdriving a bit to go faster, and some of the guys they were struggling with, they started overdriving, but that was actually slower. And then some people seem to find some kind of balance, but it was really interesting the different approaches that the different esports drivers had. A lot of them in the competition were rFactor 2, sort of rFactor 2 pros, people like Bono and pretty much all of them actually were rFactor 2 drivers. So, but what would you say the sort of meta with this was that you found for going quick?
So for the car is like, if you go heavy on the brakes and then just let it go, the car is tending to go into that slip and slide, and then it's easy to lose it. So what I found is, if you're overcooking it on the brakes, you understeer into the turn as you're locking the as you're locking the front axle, the car doesn't turn. We've seen that a couple of times with drivers from the uphill corner where we're just coming up to. And if you do that, you're just gonna understeer. I can, like, if I'm on the brakes, you see nothing's ever gonna happen with the car really. So what I found for me is, if I can underdrive it consistently, like brake 10 meters early than probably what's physically possible, but brake consistent, not over brake the car, and be in the window where, you know, the combination of vertical, lateral and horizontal load that's been put on a tire, it can still handle it without blocking, without losing the grip and stuff. That is the way how I could find a rhythm and then like got consistently quicker in it, as I was just I was trying to be on the limit but slightly below it, so that at any time I felt comfortable adjusting. Yeah.
So I really like with this is that obviously I'm a noob, especially compared to you. Probably like 3 seconds off Michi's pace, maybe 2.5 if I did a lot of practice. But what I really like with this is that you can overdrive, have fun overdriving it. You can even be underdriving and it's still quite fun and immersive.
Yes.
But then finding that absolute balance point is really satisfying. But what I found interesting with this, I don't know if you agree, I found the force feedback in this to be way more sort of detailed and communicative for what the car's doing compared to R-Factor 2, generally speaking, and LMU. I don't know if you agree with that. Apart from there's clipping at some points, but putting that to one side at the moment,
I
probably
think
a technical issue.
I think it has potential. I also agree with you that the force feedback itself is immersive, is responsive. Like it gives you, as like, you know, that little bit of a correction when you go into the braking zone or when you're about to lose the car. You really feel what the car's doing on the rear. I would still say I don't feel what the car's doing on the front, which is I think what most drivers have struggled with yesterday over the day.
So
it's
you
like,
mean in terms of if you're pushing the front tyres, you can't feel you want the strength of force.
I'm going to show you what I mean.
More.
You turn in, and then you turn in more, but it feels exactly the same. While the car is obviously, it should do something different.
It's still got a bite. So you're turning in more, the car's visually responding and actually rotating.
Yes,
but the force feedback
stays
feels
the same.
as if it's already gone over.
So if I go sawing on the wheel like this, I only feel a little bit of rumbling from the tires slipping anyway. But they slip in this position as much as they slip in that position when going through the turn. And this is where I'd say I don't feel anything from the front, because I was expecting that steering will get stiff and stiff and stiff, and as I start understeering, it should loosen up so that I'm like, oh yeah, like now my front tires have lost ground contact. And that I was missing yesterday, which was the difficult thing, because yeah, you know what the car's doing on the rear, so you can like fight the car and catch the car on a slide if it's not too severe. But you never really felt what the front's doing, and in that car it was very important to get the front to work in order to be quick.
Do you think, normally when you're driving quickly, the faster that someone's driving, they tend to be driving more on the pedals than the steering wheel?
Yes.
Do you, with different simulators, would you say in some sims you're driving more from the wheel than the pedals, or more from the pedals than the wheel, or do you always try and drive from the pedals?
I don't say I would drive from the pedals, because I have no active pedals. So whatever I do on the pedals, this doesn't give me any feedback really. So what I'm really driving off is eyes, ears, and force feedback. Those are the three sensors, or those are the three things that I listen to in order to understand what the car's doing.
I meant more in terms of steering the car, steering with the pedals.
Oh yeah,
rather than steering with the wheel.
Now I got you. Yeah. Sorry. It depends on the car. I would say any GT3 and R-Factor 2, like you give a direction with the steering wheel and then steer it through the corner with the pedals. Like obviously first you try to loosen a little bit, like McLaren GT3 for example on RF2. It loves to oversteer into every turn. So as soon as you go drove braking into one turn, it looks like this, like, oh, I'm just gonna need to keep it. So that's what you do. You unsettle the rear with a late brake input, but you only unsettle it so much that you then can pick it up with the throttle and be like, okay, the more throttle I give, the more backside it will rotate. The less throttle I give, the more understeer I get. And then you adjust with the throttle on how you steer the car, but you keep kind of, it's so-called neutral steering, where you're like almost in the middle of the center. So yeah, that is.
So, but with this, would you say you're driving neutrally with the wheel and using the pedals to rotate?
With this car, it's like you brake before turning, and once you got turned in, it's just like turn. Yeah, you really release off the throttle and off the brakes. You don't. I didn't want to have that many inputs, so I go drove braking up until here. Now let the car just coast till it rotates, and then I go gradually on the throttle so that if any, the final rotation out of the turn is coming from the rear end. Like same here, all the way coast up until the second cone, and then you can floor it again.
So basically, the thing that I think is the case possibly with real cars as well, and probably all simulators, generally, the more that you're allowing the physics of the car to do the work, that will be faster than you trying to do the driving of the car. Generally speaking, because the less you're doing as a driver, the less you're putting resistance on the vehicle, and the more you're allowing the vehicle to go where it wants to go. So
this is where the saying "smooth as fast" is coming from, I guess. Like, as long as you move inside the boundaries of the car, you're going to be able to extract the pace from it when driven correctly. Some cars allow overdriving, especially historic cars like that for
90s Formula, Schumacher style driving.
But other than that, I think that's pretty much. I'm with you.
So, I mean, for me, like this was really reminiscent to Automobilista 1, but without it having, it didn't seem to have. There's this sort of what I call the auto bin behaviour with all G Motor 1 stuff. R Factor 2 actually has it a little bit at times, and Race Room does as well, where you're going to brake, and if you lock up a little bit, you can get stuck into a behaviour and there's no way of bringing it out. Whereas in a whole bunch of simulators, or good cars in R Factor 2, or good cars in any simulator, you can lock up a bit and you can pull it out of.
Yeah.
It doesn't just get stuck in that kind of, oh, hang on a minute, we're stuck in this thing. iRacing is very notorious for it, but I think it's due to specific tyre heating stuff. But this felt to me, as I said, very much like R Factor Automobilista 1, but a lot more controllable. And then in your mind, you were saying again, this is kind of giving you an R Factor 2 kind of feel, but tighter maybe, or?
Now in an enhanced way. Like here, they got rid of that slip slide. Like this is the thing. You get the more FFB feedback you get from a tire, the more sideways lateral grip it produces when being in a slip angle. So as you reduce that, naturally the FFB will feel more dead, which is probably the thing that I'm complaining right now from the front here. However, on the other hand, what I'm looking at right now is like the car drives pretty naturally. Like the way I'm driving that buggy, I feel like, when you underdrive it and just turn as little as possible, just let the car and the tires do what they can do, and that is going quick, then I'd say, that's probably the real thing. And it's not like I can do, you turn in and like just go rally style all the way and then just look how long the tires survive. That would be the R Factor 2 way, but we've seen good modeled cars on R Factor 2, such as the Formula Pro, let's say. The Formula Pro is a machine, hard to drive, but you can't slip slide it. The moment you start slip sliding it, you die.
Slip sliding, that's the term, slip slide.
Slip sliding. The moment you start doing that on the Formula Pro car, you're just dying with it. You kill the tires and then you spin out at some point, because you need that car to be sit in shape and strong on the road. So R Factor 2 does have the ability, with a good tire model, to have none of this slip slide, drift slide driving. And I think this is pretty much what I'm feeling here. Like even I would say LMU and the last garage right now, they could be on a similar level. Obviously with the historic F170s car from yesterday, or from the qualifying, that's a different story, because historic cars, they have a different driving dynamics. But I consider this Buck Mono some kind of modern kind of buggy car. And here I really feel like it's not beneficial to slide the rear. You can have a little bit of slide on the exit and correct it, but that is nothing more that you would not only find in a GT3 or something as well. Like the real cars also have 2 or 3 degrees of slip angle on the exit, rotating the car on the throttle. That is what I consider fine. But generally, the car feels intuitive. It feels natural. It feels like that is how a road car would drive over the circuit here. That's what I feel when being in the car.
I think it's really interesting though, because this uses a totally different approach to its tyre model, the Pajenka based tyre model, whereas R Factor 2 is using a more complex, fully sort of simulated tyre. So it's interesting that both approaches can actually produce very good results. And And also seem quite similar in many ways.
Yeah.
There'll still be like nuances and a whole bunch of things, but it's just interesting, I think.
I mean, from what I've been told, currently the last garage doesn't model any pressures, doesn't model any temperatures, which is the tire is static, so it just operates in its same environment all the time. So that is the only thing I would say. Yeah, we need to see whenever that develops further, is in which direction we're going to go here, in terms of everything. But I think that is the deal. Yeah, that is generally. If the tire would already be slip slidable and
slip slidable, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I need a T-shirt that says slip slide. I'm not going to get you one. Awesome. Yeah, that makes sense.
Then I would already say, as soon as it becomes dynamic, it may go out of fans. However, when this becomes dynamic, we might probably see a completely different behavior of the car, whatever.
Awesome. So, well, there you go, guys. That is an e-sportler breakdown and sort of talk about it. If you're still here, congratulations. Your brain's probably come out of your nostrils. Really appreciate you taking the time, Michi.
You're welcome.
Second place, Michi. He's not first place, Michi. He's done too much slip sliding and it's impacted.
Actually, I've done not enough. I've done not enough. Like Devin, you gotta have to say hats off to Devin. I saw him slip sliding a lot. He was more confident on the brakes. Every time I broke hard into a corner, I was like, yep, the rear's going to come on me now. And then I just ran wide.
Hang on, what's the rear going to do?
It's going wide on me.
Yeah. So going wide, the rear's coming on you. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Oh no. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Brits were like, oh, what's this dude saying?
No. If I try speaking German, this would be a failure. Awesome. Thanks for that. Guys, you have to check out Michi's channel. What is it? Twitch, YouTube? Twitch,
YouTube, Instagram, those are the main ones.
I was asking what is the channel name? Michi Hoyer.
Michi Hoyer everywhere.
Yeah. Like Michi Hoyer everywhere. Slip sliding his way across the internet.
Oh no. Every time I'm having an interview, it's like, should probably just find another sport.
But yeah, awesome. Really appreciate it. Are you hopeful for this sim?
I am.
I am.
I'm looking forward to see what it ends up like. Yeah.
I see this as like the sleeper sim.
Yeah.
That could probably maybe it's a few years away, but will be like
when it comes out, it is surely going to be like a new dimension to the sim. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button. Follow Michi. Till the next one. Happy tea drinking. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.